What did I learn from our worst investment? We have invested in a lot of companies, and this is not a statistical business. So we've had a lot of failures. Failure is somewhat of a definition-dependent issue, but we learned that we have never made a bad investment where the technology didn't work. It didn't work when they said it was going to work. They spent more money doing it. But what didn't work was the dynamics of the market. We have developed some pretty spectacular things for which there were no buyers. Now, were there buyers eventually? Yeah. But the critical thing is getting a product developed where the timing of the product's availability and the market demand are simultaneous. Otherwise, you're spending lots of money on developing a market which you did not intend to spend money on. And invariably, we tend to shut those investments down. Now, to some of you that may sound harsh. And to some of the founders of those companies, it certainly did sound harsh when we said we're not going to finance you anymore because no one wants the product. And we just don't see any prospects. Which gets me to answer the question, where do we get the money from? We decided in the beginning that we wanted to have all tax-exempt sources so we could avoid difficulties with liquidity and selling things in order to make a distribution to pay someone's taxes. So our limited partners over roughly 40 years have been tax exempt. We have as examples most of your universities, wherever you went, because we have probably 50 different universities. We have a large number of US foundations. We have a reasonable number of international, primarily Western European limited partners. So the money comes to us from sources like that, which we aggregate in partnerships. It takes us, in a $500 million partnership, it takes us roughly 3 or 3.5 years to invest that money. And investing that money includes the amount we reserve for future rounds of financing. Because we never finance anybody totally on day one. We finance them. There are milestones. Depending on how well they do meeting the milestones, we then refinance them. And it's all done very critically. And if in fact the return expectation that we started with is no longer reality, we oftentimes shut the company down. Now, keep in mind, we're financing companies that have 10 people. Many of these financings are done in our office. So they have a lot of free rent, free lunches, free a lot of things. But if they don't get it, they don't get any more money. And yes, it's necessary to make these kinds of decisions. So I think the announcement was that we finance 500 companies. It wouldn't surprise me if we hadn't shut down 100 of that 500 over the years because the expectations for success were no longer realistic. Are you just airing out your armpit, or you want to ask a question? I think you need a microphone, or at least stand up so everybody can hear you.
Actually, I'll pass it back to him. Let me complete my question. I'll hand it.